My friends, welcome back to my 200 3D CAD models in FreeCAD series. Today I want to work on exercise 29. Before starting the video, I took a minute to process the image already, and I put the center right in the center of this object. If you are first time watching this video in this series or on my channel, I will link a video in the description where I talk about image processing and how it makes it sketching easy for us. So let's get down to business. I want to sketch this whole thing, and I will be using primarily Lattice2 workbench to complete the job. There is a video in my channel, I'll put the link in the description, where I talk about Lattice2 a bit more. You can watch that if you're just starting out in this one. In Lattice2, you only create a repeatable unit and then replicate that several times. Today, I want to create this one tooth on the right side. So to do that, I'm going to lay the groundwork first. Take this one. So the repeatable unit will come with this tooth and the gap in the middle. Now I'll talk a little bit more about how far I want to go into the gap. But for now, let's keep drawing our tooth, and then I will explain a bit more what is our extension of this tooth. All right, and we're almost there. How about this? Is this a line or an arc? I say it's an arc. So let me go ahead and then place an arc first. Now if it is an arc, how can I place this dimension 30 in there? Is it going to be this point or the middle point? And I say we take the middle point. So the furthest corner of this arc will be the middle point. So we will take that in a moment, but before we do that, let's talk about the extent of the tooth. How far does this line go? This far or this far? Now in an ideal scenario, if we are talking about one tooth, it would be perfectly in the middle, but we don't know where the middle is because none of the dimensions actually says how wide this gap is. Now because we'll be using Lattice2 workbench to repeat these things, as long as it's past half on the other side, we are fine. So I'm just gonna say this much. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and then put some constraints in it. This is diameter 40. I would rather take it up to here and make it diameter 30. So that's radius 15, right? These two are equal in radius, and the radius is 25. Oops, 25. Okay, something is wrong. Let's go ahead and say 25. Okay, we got that one taken care of. Somehow it's flipped. Oh, it's bottom. Now we wanted to work on the top there. And this gap is given as 6. So before we do that, I want to place them vertical line, and then I want to make them symmetric. Ooh, that was one over constraint. Okay, if it is symmetric, that's already, if it is on the vertical plane, I guess that's already symmetric. So the gap is 6, right? And how far does this go? We will just make that vertical, so that way they are symmetric now, as we saw in a couple moments ago. Now I want to make the distance say 9. So that's more than half. So if this is the half, it's passing the half, and that's what we want. I want to make this line radial, so it moves as a radius. So I want to take this point and take this line and hit this button, constraint point onto object, and that way it makes it radial. Let's do the same on this one too. So since we made that radial, this is already symmetric. This one, how to make that symmetric? We can make these two vertical, right? That makes it symmetric. And I want to take the furthest point. To do that, I want to take this point and place it on this axis as well. Now the distance between these two is 30. Or we could have gone with the radius thing, but let's say we just follow this lead. So this is 30. We are just following whatever the dimension we have. All right, what else? What do we have? Okay, the gap. The gap is 2.4. So the distance between these two, the vertical distance, it's not the radial distance, the vertical distance is 2.4. We have our one complete unit, repeatable unit. And that was actually the hardest part throughout this process. The rest of them is easy. So I'm going to say sketch unit. That's the one. I want to pull it up by 10, 5 and 5. So that's 20. So let's pull that up by 20. And while I'm doing that, let's make it symmetric. So that's our one tooth. We got one tooth. Now I want to repeat that however many times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 20 times. Let's go ahead, pull in the Lattice2 workbench. If you don't have Lattice2 already installed, you'll have to go to add-on manager and then install Lattice in there. I have a couple of videos in the recent past. I talk a lot more about Lattice2 from a beginner's perspective. So let's go ahead and select our polar array. That's what we will be doing because it goes in the circular fashion. And I am going to update the count, not the number element, although they are the same, but I want to update the count as 20. Oh, look at that. They just fall into the place. Now, because the center, right, let me show you. The center is it here, and the repeating unit is not at the center. It's somewhere else. Doesn't matter where it is, but it's as long as it's not at the center, we cannot use this radius feature. So better make it 0 right now. All right. Okay. So we know that there are like 20 of those. Now let's go ahead and rename that as unit and take the unit and select polar array and then hit populate with copies. That way we have some overlaps between two teeth. So we have some repeating within two repeating units, and that is not going to be a problem because we are going to make this entire thing as a solid, and solid will take care of those. Let me go ahead and then hide this unit and polar array. And now the fusion, let me hit refine there. So that's our wheel. We got our wheel, the hardest part taken care of. Now let's talk about this gap, this groove that we have on both sides. How do we take care of that? Pretty easy if you asked me. We can go with the primitives, not that one. Create tube. I want to take a tube, right? And let me hide this one for a moment. So the gap is diameter 30 inside, diameter 40.5 outside. So I'm still in that parameter phase. So outside it's 40.5 divided by 2, and inside it is 30 divided by 2. And height wise it will be 5. So we can make that 5, right? There. So we got that one. Let's bring our fusion or the wheel back. Let me actually rename that. Say wheel. Cool. Now, do you see what the problem is? This tube is not at where we wanted it to be. This wheel should be at this level, and it's at the center now. So we can fix that. We see the gap between two sides is 10, so the midpoint is 5. What I have to do is take the tube, place it at z direction 5. That way it moves up to the level, right? Now I can make the cut. Now, do I make the cut right now? That's the question. Yeah, but we don't have one wheel in here to cut it. So what I want to do is, let's take that cut back, make a unit mirror, so it goes on the other side, and that mirroring would be done against XY plane. As you can see, it's on the other side as well. Let's make these two one unit, and I'm going to say group, right? Now make the cut. Now we got our final object. That is beautiful. All right, I hope you like this one, at least the lattice part. And as I said, if you have any questions, please let them know in the comment, and also look at the previous video where I talk more about Lattice2 workbench. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.